Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered the final forfeiture of the money found at Flat 7B, 17 Osborne Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. Justice Sule Hassan orders that the monies be permanently forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. Before granting the order of final forfeiture, the court dismissed an application filed by a lawyer, one Olukaide Ogungbeja, seeking a stay or proceedings of a final forfeiture of the said monies for lack of merit. In April, the EFCC had acted on a tip-off from a whistleblower and found the monies valued at 13 billion naira. Well, opinion is indeed divided as to whether or not the EFCC is making progress in the anti-graft war. But with today's judgment, where the Federal High Court presided over by Justice Sule Hassan, ordering the final forfeiture of the money found at Flat 7, 17 Osborne, 7B, 17 Osborne Road, Ikoyi, Lagos to the federal government, some believe that the EFCC is on course. Well, joining me now on News Track is a legal practitioner, Mr. Wahab Shitu, to look at some of these matters. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Chamberlain, for inviting me.
How do you perceive this judgment, first and foremost?
I think this is a very positive development. This is a step in the right direction. It's a major boost for the anti-corruption war. It is also a major boost for the Magu-led EFCC. I think Nigerians are no longer in doubt that EFCC is working, and that the appointment of Magu as the acting chair of EFCC is a step in the right direction. He has shown capacity, he has shown performance. He has also, EFCC under his leadership has also posted unprecedented achievements. So the fact that the court this morning made that far-reaching pronouncement is a boost for the federal government anti-corruption war, and it shows clearly that all hopes are not lost. Okay. And that if we all key into the anti-corruption war, if we collaborate and cooperate with the anti-graft agencies, more successes are likely to be recorded, and that will translate into meaningful development for citizens. What
do we make of the acting president-led committee? Because there are many who are looking to see what that report entails. But with this judgment, some think that it's a foregone conclusion that the report will be of no consequence.
I think this government has further strengthened the hands of the subcommittee, because the committee that you mentioned is a committee put in place by the federal government, headed by the acting president. What this judgment has resolved is that this funds should go back to the federal government. So, but it will be forfeited to the federal government.
Will there be?
So it will go to the federation account. You understand what I'm saying? That is funds belonging to the federal government. And if we look at what is being investigated by the acting president-led committee, is to determine who owns the money. Now the court has made pronouncement that the money should be forfeited to the federal government. So technically, and in the eyes of the law, these funds belong to the federal government.
But if that investigation finds out that someone other than the federal government owes the money, in that event, what happens to the court order having forfeited the money to the government?
I'm sure you know that the judiciary, the orders of the judiciary binds all persons, including the executive, the legislature, and all other authorities. Of course, this will supersede. This judgment, this court pronouncement will supersede as far as ownership is concerned. I think the acting president's led committee is out to determine a lot of factors, not just the ownership of the money. Circumstances that led to the development in the first instance, and some other discoveries, the degree of involvement of persons and institutions, and how to strengthen institutions looking ahead as far as issues of governance and the anti-corruption war is concerned. So it's going to be a holistic committee, a committee that is out to look at issues from the bigger picture. But as far as ownership of that funds is concerned, the court has made a decisive pronouncement. Whoever is aggrieved against the judgment pronounced today is at liberty to appeal. But as far as we are concerned, the money stands for future to the federal government. So any other claim to the contrary is badass.
But speaking about convictions now, for those who think that they've not seen the kind of conviction that they require as part of all of those monies that the commission say they've found, they've gone to court for forfeiture, what's going on about convicting
I think
people?
there are a lot of convictions going on a daily basis. I think what people, the conversation should shift to facts and statistics. Those who come out to say, oh, no conviction has been recorded. What are the facts? The facts on ground is that EFCC is daily posting convictions. In fact, there are cases I did, for instance, in my own case, there's a former chairman of Kogi local government area, former chairman of Ogurmagongo local government, whose case I prosecuted, who is languishing in prison now. The convictions of Ingilari achieved by the EFCC. High-profile matters. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Daily, EFCC is recording convictions, particularly under Magu. But this is one anti-corruption fighter who cannot be compromised. Magu is exceptional, is unique in terms of his commitment to the anti-corruption war. And this country is fortunate to have such a character at the headship of EFCC at this particular point in time. So if you look at the chemistry between Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osibajo is also himself incorruptible, and Mago. And then you have Sage leading the Presidential Committee Against Anti-Corruption, ably assisted by Professor Bolaji Owasoye. This country has never had it so good in terms of having the best hands who are totally committed to the anti-corruption war.
Some others are concerned about what happens tomorrow. Have we successfully institutionalized the fight against corruption to the extent that if Mr. Magu or this government leaves, where leaves the fight against corruption?
I think a lot of people underestimate the work of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Anti-Corruption. A lot of work is being done by that committee. In
an advisory capacity?
Not just advisory capacity, in building institutions.
How?
For instance, are you aware of the amount of work that this committee has done? They have finalized a draft bill on special courts. They finalized a draft bill on the whistleblowing policy. The process of crime acts. As a lot of bills. I think what we need to do is to urge the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, to expedite, work on the work of the Presidential Advisory Committee. And I think the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, is also fully committed in terms of reforms. So a lot of institutional mechanisms are in place to guide future administrations about the work against corruption. Again, there are also attempts to introduce special courts.
Would that help?
That will assist greatly because the court dockets will be concentrated mainly on corruption-related cases.
So what happens to the vacuum that they create, those who will preside over the special courts, the judges?
There will be no vacuum. What we are all concerned about the element of delay, particularly in relation to the to corruption-related cases. With special courts, you saw what was achieved by the election tribunals over the resolution of electoral disputes, because a time frame is set, and those tribunals are especially dedicated to the handling of election cases. And you see the speed, the element of speed.
So doesn't the Administration of Criminal Justice Act help?
It will also complement the work of the special courts. But what we are saying now is that there's no justification whatsoever for corruption-related cases to be delayed. And that's what the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, the point is making, that when you delay justice, when you delay adjudication of some of these cases, you are endangering the system. And I think but the point must also be made that for this war to be won decisively, there should be collaboration between the bar, the bench, the anti-graft agencies, the mass movement, particularly the press, the media. All of us must key into this, because the war against corruption is not a war being fought by the Buhari administration alone. It's a collective fight that all of us must enlist in. Because this country belongs to all of us. I cannot afford to allow it to be consumed by massive corruption.
Well, to anchor the point, Mr. Wahab Shitu is a legal practitioner. Thank you for talking to us today.
It's my pleasure always.